Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Sassani. Good to have all of you here with me this morning. It is Monday. Hope you had an amazing weekend, as we ask that you do every single Friday, that you find time to connect with your spouse, with your family, that you just relax and enjoy and rebuild the relationship. Listen, maybe some of you are dating in a committed courtship, engaged, married, separated, divorced, whatever your relational status is, we're here for you. We have been in a series for about a week, and I said that we would extend this probably to 2 weeks. It may go a little bit longer because there's so much to talk about, but it's sexual addiction, the addiction and recovery series. Lots to dive into, I tell you. But before we get started, make sure you take the opportunity to like, share, and subscribe. Let your community know that we are here so that we can dive in deep, so that so many other people can benefit from what we have to say. Listen, guys, as you know, Phoenix Awards Gala, we are just, 12 days away, October the 7th. We're excited about it. It's going to be an amazing event. Also, Last Chance Weekend coming up, the second weekend of October. You can sign up for that because some of you are in desperate need of change and transformation in your relationship. You don't know what else to do. You don't know where else to turn. So please reach out to us. Go to our website, couplesacademy.org, so we can talk more about that. We're talking today about cybersex addiction. Now, we've been talking about sexual addiction in general. We've unpacked the levels of addiction. And today we're going to talk about cybersex because this is a thing all within itself. And I think is worthy of a conversation because of technology. Because of technology, there are so many more freedoms that people have to do things that can be compromising to their relationship. And oftentimes they are not found out because they have access through their phone, through a tablet, through a computer. And there's a world of sexuality that one can access at the click of a button. So let's start off by giving you a comprehensive definition of what cybersex is. So number one, cybersex is any type of sexual activity that occurs virtually between two or more individuals, including sexting, sharing sexual images or videos with a partner, webcam sex, chat room sex. Although some cybersex experiences include visual elements such as photos and videos, other cybersex activities involve describing sexual fantasies or scenarios in written or spoken words. In most cases, cybersex involves real-life masturbation by one or all participants. Yes. We're going to break down that definition comprehensively, but I thought just to give you some idea about cybersex addiction, I want to share some statistics with you that I'm going to be reading off that I found very, very interesting. Number one, the estimated number of people who have sexual addictions in the United States alone, just in the United States, is between 12 and 30 million people. So it is a problem, folks. It is a problem that is getting worse and worse and worse. And of course, technology has something to do with that. Internet porn statistics showed that there are 4.2 million pornographic websites, 4.2 million websites that you can access. Remember, way back in the day, even before the internet was a thing, you had Playboy, you had Penthouse, you had Hustler. That was pretty much the extent of it. And then all of a sudden, all other types of magazines started coming out. And, once we moved from paper to digital, then the sky was the limit. And so imagine having 4.2 million magazines on the shelf, all completely different. So there's a oversaturation of pornography on the internet. And really, it constitutes 12% of all of the total websites that exist online. Pornographic websites constitute 372 million hits, and daily pornographic search engines hit 68 million. Okay, 68 million searches, and 25% of them are search engine requests. Over 60% of cybersex addicts have not previously suffered from a history of sexual addiction behavior until they discovered the internet. Now, interestingly enough, I don't believe that The internet is evil. I believe that there's evil use and application for the internet. I remember hearing a mentor of mine once say that a grape can be used for medicinal purposes. A grape can be used for its nutritional value. But that same grape, given a certain spin and given a certain twist, can be used to do great harm. So it's not what you use, but how you use what you use, and not where you get it from, but what you do with it once you get it. He said fire can be used to warm you. Fire can be used for purification. But that same fire, beyond benefit, can lead to detriment, even leading to the loss of life. Once again, not what you use, but how you use what you use, and not where you get it from, but what you do with it once you get it. So likewise, the internet is not an evil tool within itself, but the internet gives you a pathway into a world that exposes what is going on the inside of you. So while some will use the internet for educational purposes to advance themselves, others will use the internet to explore a dark world of sexual fantasy. And all of it is available on this system. So something to keep in mind, 66% of internet users, interestingly, are 18 to 34-year-old men who look online for pornography at least once a month. 70% of internet pornographic traffic occurs. Interesting, check this out. Now, you would think, when are people watching porn? Okay, so spouse went to sleep. Let me wake up. Let me get to my computer and let me spend a couple hours while they're snoring in the other room. They'll never know. Right? That's what you would typically think. But overwhelmingly, 70% of people who watch porn watch it between the hours of 9 to 5 while at work. Okay? So there's potential danger. We're going to deal with the consequences of cybersex activity. Obviously, you could tell what one of those consequences would be if you were found out. But can you imagine? Now, I have a business. I have employees. I have practitioners. God forbid, I'm thinking that they're working, but they're spending several hours watching pornography. This is disturbing information, folks. 2.5 billion emails per day are pornographic related in some type of way. A lot of these emails are spam emails, just like they can spam your phone. There's all types of ways that they can get to you if they so choose. 75% of addicts have admitted that they have regularly posted naked photos of themselves online. You know, we're talking about exhibitionism and voyeurism, and you can play that out online. And so think about it. If I'm using cybersex to do it, I won't necessarily be discovered as easily because I'm doing it in the privacy of my own home or my own space. 80% of women who have a husband or partner has been diagnosed with a sexual addiction suffered from depression in a recent study. Wow. 40% of women say that they withdraw their emotional connections to a partner with a sexual addiction. You can imagine if a partner is engaged in sexual or cyber sex online and is connecting with another person, the feeling of rejection, the feeling of abandonment, isolation begins to creep into that relationship. And so that level of betrayal will cause someone to back up. I'm not going to give you my heart and give you my body while you continue to engage in these practices. These practices with other people. Last statistic, 60% of women develop an eating disorder after discovering the actions of their partner with a sex addiction, because oftentimes it is a blow to one's self-esteem. It's an attack on one's body image. I already struggle with my body, with my shape, not thinking that I'm feminine enough, not thinking that I'm thin enough or thick enough or tall enough or short enough. I have my own idiosyncrasies and inadequacies and pressures that I internally deal with. But when you cast your eyes on another, all of a sudden it makes me think that that's what you really want. And because that's the opposite of what I am and who I am, now I'm going to result into all types of things that will shift and change my body. So I will starve myself, right? I will engage in unhealthy practices so that I can live up and measure up to the image and visualization of what you're looking for in a physical body. how damaging to the psychology of a person, how damaging to the relational dynamic of a person. We're just getting started. These are just statistics. Now, they say there's a story behind statistics. There are details behind statistics. But I wanted to start off with statistics to see you how widespread this problem is. But after this break, we're going to get into what cybersex is in the different types of behaviors, okay, or the different types of the behaviors, the patterns, the things that you can get into with cybersex. Anyway, you're watching the Couples Academy show. Hope you're getting something out of this conversation. Be right back after this short break.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy show. We're talking about cybersex addiction. I want to first, before we get into the different habits and practices of what this thing actually is, I want to tell you what makes cybersex so uniquely different in the mind of the addict that allows them to justify why they're engaging in it. Number one, anonymity is a huge factor. The reason why the statistics are so high is because of anonymity. In other words, it's anonymous. No one ever has to know. I can forego being seen. I no longer have to go to the porn shop. I no longer have to go to the massage parlor. I no longer have to leave my car, leave my house, get in a car, drive to a location with the risk of being seen by others. I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to put a wig on. I don't have to put dark shades. I don't have to lift my collar up and go. I don't have to do any of that. Why? Because I live by myself, well, outside of my spouse and my children, but I can be in a room all by myself and have access to a world that I never would any other way if it wasn't for technology. I can download all the porn videos that I want. I can download all the porn pictures that I want. And outside of you having access to this phone, you will never know. And so this is why so many people have a death clutch on this phone, because if they were ever, come on now, if anybody ever got access to it, their entire world would be exposed. This is why the phone is such a trigger for so many people, because it gives you access to something that you would never have access to. You can even access prostitutes. See, now back in the day, if you wanted to get with a prostitute, you would have to get in your car, drive to a certain part of town, and like a stakeout, wait for someone to appear, and you would engage in a streetwalker. You didn't know if that was an undercover cop. You didn't know. You just didn't know. But in essence, there would be these techniques of what you would do to get the attention of, and they would know that you're a John, and then you would pay for the transaction. They would get in your car. You would go to a location. Maybe you would stay in the car, or you would go to a motel, or you would go to a park. Whatever you did, all of that goes away, because now, because of cybersex, I can go to websites where prostitutes have a profile. So just like a dating site, right, where I can scan through and look and see what I want, I can pick height and shape and race and culture and style, all of that, right? So not only can I see the prostitute before I go, I can read the bio, I could see what their preferences are. I can get the full write-up, and then I can call. I can chat, I can text, and then I can have them come to an undisclosed location, meet there. No one would ever know. You see how technology, if you don't have a healthy moral disposition towards this technology, could make you a worser version of yourself, so your addiction can be heightened and fully supported in a way never before, because it's on the internet. So anonymity is a huge thing, because there's a much lower risk of being discovered. Number two, denial. See, the thing is, a person who is an addict will often deny the significance of cybersex because it's not real sex. It's not like I'm necessarily in relationship with a particular person. Either A, it's all virtual and we never touch, or B, it's random, right? So there's no relationship, there's no emotional tie, and that becomes the justification that people use to engage in it. And what happens is, if this is what you believe, you begin to minimize and rationalize and justify your behavior, and you make light of how damaging this really is. It's no big deal. And so what happens is you find yourself getting lost in time, spending countless hours engaged online, because there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just conversation. It's just interaction. It's just fantasy. It's no big deal. And you get lost in time, and hours go by. And now it's impacting how you show up on your work. Hours missing. How you show up in the family. Complete disconnection. So this is why we say that there's a major difference between physical proximity. Yes, I'm in the home. I'm not an absentee husband or father. I live here. Yeah, you have physical proximity, but there's no togetherness. There's no connection. There's no quality time, because you are consumed in that room on that computer for hours upon hours upon hours. So there's a preoccupation and a ritualization in terms of your engagement with cybersex, which leads to compulsive behaviors where you get so sucked in, you don't know how to release it. That is an addictive forming behavior. So cybersex, guys, cybersex is a huge thing. Now, interestingly enough, while men are known for really engaging in porn at a much more higher level than women, interestingly, when it comes to cybersex, with the rate of women engaged in cybersex is constantly rising. And the reason for this is because women, as we know, are wired differently than men. Women like to connect. They like to talk. And so whether they're talking on the phone or chatting back and forth or getting lost in conversations, they're connecting and getting to know and sharing. There's a level, if you will, a different level of intimacy, because you're sharing who you are with one another. You're sharing intimacies with one another. And so what happens is women oftentimes engage in this form because of the connection, right? Also, there's a safety element because I'm doing it from my own home. And what happens is After a while, there's an intrigue, there's an interest, there's some type of desire for more. And what we've seen is that many women have engaged in these online behaviors that soon become offline. And so after several hours and days and weeks of communicating, now there's a desire to connect offline. And unfortunately, these statistics haven't worked in women's favor because it has led to a whole lot of dangerous situations where women have been beat, they've been tortured, they've been killed, because they weren't aware that, you know what, on this computer, I could be whoever I want to be. If you want me to be that loving guy, that connecting guy, that heartfelt, emotional guy that really looks at you for who you are, if you want me to be that guy that's into certain fetishes, but you feel safe in the fetish because you have a sense of who we are, I'll be that guy. And so the goal is to get you comfortable and to transition and go to a deeper dive and a higher level. And so once I now have you in close proximity, if I am a villain, if I am a perpetrator, can take advantage of you in ways that you did not anticipate. So guys, don't think because I'm not in physical proximity or I'm not in physical contact with a person that this is not damaging to your life, okay, to your safety, to your marriage, to your family. It is just as damaging. Interestingly enough, statistics have been actually done where it's asked betrayed spouses, did cybersex have any less of an impact on you than possibly your spouse being involved in a physical affair? And statistics suggest that it is just as damaging, just as hurtful, just as painful. It's important to understand these realities. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get into some of the details and the nuances of cybersex right after this break. But, you know, I just want you to pause and just to think, is this something that I've done, that I've made light of? Is this something that my spouse is guilty of doing? And if so, what do we need to do about it? Because once somebody is engaged in this practice, it just doesn't go away. We can't stick our head in the sand and assume that, you know, everything will just be all right and work itself out. No, this requires work and intentionality to change your situation around. Anyway, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We're talking about cybersex addiction. We'll be right back after this break.
Hassani and Danielle here. I'm so excited. Look at us. Look at where we at. Look at where we at. We are at the Hilton Alpharetta, looking at this room before the incredible transformation that's about to take place on October 7th. Walls draped, stage up, lights, camera, action. And we want y'all to be there.
Are you going to be here?
Come on, get your tickets. It's October 7th. You don't want to miss this event. It is the Phoenix Awards Gala. It is our first inaugural, and we're just getting started. We starting hot.
Oh yeah, we
jumping out this gate like never before.
We believe either you go hard or you go home.
We're not gonna be home.
We're gonna
go
be
hard or go home.
Where you need to be.
Come on,
so let's get it.
We want to see you on October 7th. Go to get your tickets at couplesacademy.com. We'll see you there.
All right, guys, we're back. Anytime we talk about topics such as this, any type of sex addiction, I notice that there's a lot less interaction in the chat, and I understand that. There's a lot of shame that's attached to this. People don't want to necessarily reveal this level of betrayal or this kind of betrayal within their relationship. There's a stigma attached, and I understand that. But I know that I'm hitting you where many of you are. And so I want to encourage you that you do not have to struggle with this. There are an incalculable number of resources out there that can be of assistance to you. I have views on some of them that are more effective than others, but we do provide assistance. We have intensives that are dedicated to those who struggle with sex addiction. And it is not the typical 3-day intensive that we talk about. We do 7-day, 14-day, 21-day intensive. So there's a completely different process that we guide you through, because it requires a whole lot more to break a lot of these addictions, because you have to understand, as we said, that the addiction doesn't just exist in the body. Many would think, okay, well, it's sex, it's physical, so it's a physical sexual addiction. And if you focus on the physical body and break it there, then everything will be all right. But it's deeper than that. A lot of addictions are a result of an emotional issue that hasn't been properly addressed or resolved. There's a past childhood trauma that has not been healed. So it affects them psychologically. It affects them emotionally. It affects them mentally in terms of the way they think, their self-image. There's a broken image oftentimes that the addict is carrying, which fuels the behavior that they engage in. And last but not least, and the most important, it is a spiritual thing. The addiction has to be broken in the spirit. See, I don't know what your faith tradition is and what you believe. Some of us have a deeper level of spirituality than others. But when you understand the world of the supernatural, you begin to understand how it's more real than this quote unquote reality that we're living every single day. And so we can't just rely on natural means. We have to go into spiritual, supernatural means to break certain things in the spirit, which are driving and impacting how we show up in our everyday lives. Now, that's a conversation all within itself, which we plan on getting into, because there's no point in tiptoeing, tap dancing, and pussyfooting around what the real issue is and how to resolve it. We're going to get into some deep things here on this show, so continue to tune in. All right, so in terms of cybersex, now, we only have a few minutes left. I'm going to quickly go through this, but there are different activities that many people have engaged in when it comes to this type of experience. Number one, we have what we call mutual masturbation with cam performers. So now you can go online and two people on opposite ends of a screen can masturbate with cams. I can see you, you can see me. Now, it has been sold that this is something that would be great for couples who are in a committed relationship, but they may be bi-coastal, they may live in different countries, and so this is a way of connecting with your spouse. And dare I say, yes, this is a way that you can connect with your spouse when you're hundreds of thousands of miles away. But it also has another use and purpose. We are finding that individuals are engaging in these types of behaviors with someone who they're not in a relationship with, right? So once again, easy access to another person, and it's a form of betrayal, and this has become the thing that you get lost in. And so now we find people who are masturbating either to pictures and images or masturbating with another person connected by a camera. And when you're doing this several times a week and several times a day, it has physical, emotional, psychological, just all types of impacts on you personally, let alone the impact that it has on your marriage. Then we have another type, and it's the online activity in fantasy chat rooms. Now, the fantasy chat room is a place that I can go to connect with other people who have sexual fantasies and fetishes that are similar to mine, that I don't share with my spouse. My spouse is vanilla. My spouse is normal. I step out of the bounds of normalcy when it comes to sex, and I can have my fantasy and my fetish fulfilled. Now, listen, in preparation for this series, I said, what kind of sexual fantasies and fetishes are out there? and how disturbing for me. So much so that I felt, I'm not even going to go there. Like when we get into the spiritual side of the addiction, we can begin to talk about this more. Because when I say that there is a dark world of fetishes and fantasies that would give anyone pause, that would alarm any individual about the depths that their spouse has gone to. It's a show within itself, and it was very disheartening to kind of see the types of things that are associated with sex. And it's weird because, sex is a gift that has been given and created by God for those within the confines of a marriage. And we know that Satan's agenda is to duplicate and pervert. So if God had his purpose in mind, Satan corrupts it and creates his purpose. And when I tell you that they are totally opposite ends of the spectrum, when we delve into this thing, and maybe that's the wake-up call that many of us need, particularly for the addict or the person engaged in behaviors, affairs, things of that nature, that minimize and think is no big deal. When you understand the spiritual roots of certain things, and I'm using the word spiritual intentionally. We'll delve into it in just a couple of days, but when I tell you, boy, this is a lot deeper than what you think, and we're going to peel back the layers so that you have the insight that you need so that you can be empowered to overcome your addiction, because the taste that you have for it may go away once we delve into those areas. Okay, the next one is masturbation to erotic stories or images. Right? Seems like whenever we're dealing with pornography or sex, masturbation is a part of it. It's like, how can you have peanut butter without the jelly, right? How do you have ham without the cheese, right? So they go hand in hand. So masturbation, you're going to see it, but it comes in different forms. And so in this particular case, there are websites that you can go to and hear all types of erotic stories. Eroticism is a thing. Right? A lot of the novels that you read, these erotic love novels, women typically lean more into eroticism. Men typically lean more into pornography, because pornography are images and videos that are created for you. Eroticism is more tapping into your own sexual imagination. So it's a different thing. Then you have, of course, sexting. You can be sexting strangers or sexting people within a community. And oftentimes that's coupled with images and videos that you share back and forth. And then you have what is called teledildonics. Teledildonics is, okay, there's these devices or toys, and both of you have different, I don't even want to go there. I don't Google it. I'm just saying, there's some stuff out there, folks. There's some stuff out there. And lastly, alternate and virtual reality sex. These cybersex, I'm telling you, it can be psychologically more damaging and addictive than engaging in sex with a physical body, with an actual individual. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if I engage in sexual relations with another person, a prostitute, I have an affair with a particular person, I'm dealing with that one person. But with pornography, there's no limit. There's no limit to the world that I can engage in. And so today I want a brunette. Tomorrow I want a redhead. The next day there's just no limit. And you can get lost in this world, and it begins to suck you in. Cybersex addiction is a real thing. And if this is you, if this is where you find yourself, and you want to get out, but you just don't know how, please reach out to us. There's a number on the screen, 678-200-8996. We have individuals who are equipped and inexperienced to guide you through your struggle. This is not something that you have to live with. I hope that you got some insight into this world. I pray that this is not something that you are experiencing in your own marriage, but if it is, there is a lifeline available. It's called Couples Academy. Anyway, guys, have an amazing day. We're going to go even deeper, if you can even imagine that, on tomorrow's episode, so make sure you tune in. We're going to sit in this until we get down to the white meat of the issue so that we can help you overcome your particular addiction. All right, guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow. My name is Asani.